In downtown Bangkok, there's a 49-story luxury tower that has been completely empty for 27 years. It was 80% finished when construction stopped. It became the set of a horror film, and nobody has ever moved in. This tower has been frozen in place since 1997, when Thailand's currency lost half of its value in 6 months, and the country never psychologically recovered. The financial losses were eventually absorbed. The fear never was. This is the story of how a single financial crisis broke one of the most promising economies on Earth, and how the scar tissue from that crisis created a trap that Thailand still cannot escape nearly 3 decades later. We're going to cover how the 1997 crash reshaped Thailand's institutions and its people, why the wealth concentration that followed is the direct output of that reshaping, and why Thailand is now aging like a rich country while still being a poor one. I've been traveling to Bangkok regularly since 2023, and every time I go back, I notice the same thing. A gap between the people and the system they're trapped inside. The people are sharp, creative, and cosmopolitan, but the structure won't let those ingredients combine. And to understand why, you have to go back to July 2nd, 1997. For 14 years, the Thai baht had been pegged to the US dollar at a rate of 25 to 1. On July 2nd, 1997, that peg broke. By January 1998, the baht had plunged to 56 against the dollar. Foreign reserves that had stood at 38.7 billion were burned through until only 2.85 billion remained. GDP contracted 10.5% in a single year. The IMF had to assemble a $17.2 billion rescue package. 56 of 91 finance companies were permanently shut down. Over 300 high-rise projects were abandoned mid-construction across Bangkok. To understand what that felt like on the ground, one US diplomat recalled people pulling their kids out of school. Executives who had built careers over decades lost everything. Wealthy families were selling furs and Mercedes at fire sale prices just to stay solvent. And just years earlier, Thailand's economy had been growing at over 9% annually, the highest rate of any country on Earth. The fastest growing economy on the planet went to near total collapse in months. The Sathorn Unique Tower, that 49-story skeleton referenced in the thumbnail, was one of those 300 abandoned projects. Its developer's son refused to declare bankruptcy. He wanted to repay every original buyer in full. That never happened. The tower just stood there. It still stands there today. The Bank of Thailand's own language calls these, quote, remaining scars, and those scars show up everywhere in the data. After nearly running out of foreign reserves in 1997, Thailand rebuilt them from 2.85 billion to over 237 billion by 2018. That is not a typo. They multiplied their reserves by more than 80 times. Banking regulation became among the strictest in the region. Capital adequacy ratios hit 17.8%. Loan loss reserves reached 162% of required amounts. That means Thai banks were holding more than 1.5 times the money regulators said they needed to cover potential losses. And corporate investment persistently weak since 1997, across the board. Here is the frame that got installed after the crisis. Caution above all else. Stick with safe, export-oriented manufacturing. Lean on tourism. Choose strategies that generate foreign exchange without the vulnerability of foreign borrowing. And on their own, these were rational choices, completely rational. They were the choices of a country that looked into the abyss and decided it would never go back. But they were also the choices of a country that would never again bet on itself the way it had in the late 1980s. The aspiration was set in that era of 9% growth. The caution was set by what came after. Both are still running simultaneously in Thailand today, and neither can overwrite the other. That tension defines modern Thailand more than any single policy. And the caution didn't just shape government decisions, it shaped who won. If the 1997 crisis installed the psychology installed the economic structure. Think about it from a bank's perspective. You nearly went under in 1997. Your regulators are now the strictest in the region. Who are you going to lend to? You're going to lend to proven balance sheets. You're going to lend to conglomerates. A regulatory system terrified of destabling the economy doesn't challenge incumbents. An investment client that only funds what's already been validated funds the people who already own everything. Credit Suisse's 2018 Global Wealth Data Book ranked Thailand the most unequal country in the world among the 40 nations they surveyed. The richest 1% controlled 66.9% of all wealth. The bottom 50% held 1.7%. But the numbers matter less than the mechanism that produced them. Thailand didn't develop extreme wealth concentration because a few families seized power in some dramatic takeover. The caution frame has a natural output when you apply it for 27 years. Whoever was big enough to survive in 1997 absorbed everything that came after. The owner of the massive Lotus retail chain was forced to sell during the 1997 crisis. Then they bought everything back. Macro in 2013, Tesco Lotus for $10.6 billion in 2020. They could do this at moments when smaller competitors couldn't even finance their operations. Today, they control 14,000 7-Eleven stores, Thailand's largest telecom operator, and one of the world's largest agribusiness operations. Quick note, if you're learning something from this video, take a second and subscribe. Most people watching this channel haven't subscribed yet, and it genuinely helps me in a big way. All right, back to it. And they're just one example. TCC Group controls over 90% of the beer market, massive real estate holdings, and is building a $3.9 billion mega district downtown. King Power holds a near total monopoly on duty-free retail. The combined wealth of Forbes Thailand's top 50 reached $170.5 billion in 2025. That's roughly 33% of the country's entire GDP sitting in the hands of 50 families. Meanwhile, over 50% of Thailand's workforce operates in the informal economy, as it's known. The motorcycle taxi driver you see weaving through Bangkok traffic in an orange vest takes payment in cash because that's the economy he has access to. And when competition law exists on paper, it barely functions in practice. Thailand's 1999 Trade Competition Act yielded 0 prosecutions in its first 17 years. 0. When the True DTAC telecom merger in 2023 reduced the mobile market from 3 major players to 2, the deal went through without resistance. This wasn't corruption in the traditional sense. It was the caution frame working exactly as designed. Don't disrupt what's functioning. Don't risk instability. And each subsequent crisis reinforced the structure. During COVID, the big conglomerates were described as among the few cashed-up Thai buyers for distressed bank portfolios. The crisis that broke the middle class made the conglomerates stronger, and then the caution that followed the crisis made them permanent. Now, the birth rate. In 2024, Thailand's total fertility rate fell to 1.0. Yes, that is lower than Japan's 1.2. It's approaching South Korea's record-breaking 0.72. But South Korea's GDP per capita is $36,000. Thailand's is $7,300. South Korea is 5 times richer. Thailand is experiencing the demographic decline of a wealthy, developed nation while still being a middle-income country. In 2024, Thailand recorded 462,240 births versus 571,646 deaths. The 4th consecutive year, deaths exceeded births. Thailand's median age of 40.8 now matches the United Kingdom's. The ASEAN average is 29. By 2050, 1 in 3 Thais will be over 60, and the working age population will shrink from 43.2 million to 36.5 million. A survey found only 35.8% of fertile Thai adults plan to have children. And when you look at the economic conditions young Thais face, you start to understand why. Thailand produces 400,000 to 500,000 university graduates every year. Fewer than half find immediate formal employment. Starting salaries hover around 15,000 to 20,000 baht per month, which is around $420 to $560. A single BTS or MRT fare of 39.5 baht represents 11% of the daily wage, the highest proportion in Asia. Just getting to work costs you more of your income in Bangkok than anywhere else on the continent. The conglomerate structure and the demographic decline feed each other. Young people opt out because the economy offers them no path forward. Their departure further concentrates the domestic market in the hands of the incumbents who already dominate it. In May 2021, someone created a Facebook group called Let's Move Abroad. It attracted nearly 1.1 million members almost immediately in a country of 72 million people. And the talent keeps proving itself. Bangkok earned the UNESCO Creative City of Design designation in 2019. The 2024 film, How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, was an international breakout. But the factories are leaving. Subaru ceased all assembly at its Lot Cabrong plant after production collapsed to 344 units in 4 months. 344 cars. Samsung moved smartphone production to Vietnam years ago. In total, over 3,500 factories shut between 2021 and 2024, with 51,500 workers losing their jobs in 12 months through June 2024 alone. The talent keeps showing up. The system keeps failing to use it. Vietnam and Malaysia clarify what escape looks like and what Thailand is missing. Samsung's Vietnamese supplier base grew from 25 enterprises in 2014 to 257 by 2022, a tenfold increase in local supply chain development. Samsung's 6 Vietnamese factories now account for over 50% of the company's global smartphone output and generate roughly 30% of Samsung's total revenue. Vietnam secured a tariff deal with the United States. Those are the factories and the jobs that just left Thailand. Malaysia took a different path to the same result. Intel committed $7 billion to expand advanced chip packaging in Penang, making it Intel's largest global production base. Malaysia's 5 economic corridors have collectively attracted $162 billion in cumulative investment. The Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone is becoming a hyperscale data center hub, positioning for the next economy, while Thailand is still stuck in the last one. What separates these countries from Thailand is one thing: policy continuity. Vietnam's system provides consistent, decades-long investment-friendly policy. Malaysia operates on 5-year development plans with dedicated statutory authorities for each corridor function, regardless of which government is in charge. Even through 3 prime ministers between 2018 and 2022, those plans kept running. Thailand has 11 prime ministers in 20 years. The World Economic Forum found that business executives ranked leadership turnover as the single most problematic factor for doing business in Thailand. The signature digital wallet stimulus program was indefinitely postponed in May 2025, with 157 billion baht reallocated after yet another leadership transition. The trap itself is politically unsurvivable. Breaking free would require coordinated industrial policy sustained over decades. An economy this rigid, a demographic clock this advanced, no leader holds power long enough to execute a strategy that takes a generation to pay off. Thailand has been middle income for 37 years. World Bank simulations suggest it will likely remain so past 2050 under current trends. South Korea, starting from a similar GDP per capita in 1960, broke through in under 3 decades by investing heavily in domestic innovation, R&D, and education. Thailand chose the safe path, and it has been rewarded with safety and nothing more. Every time I go back to Bangkok, I see people who are cosmopolitan, creative, industrious, and increasingly fluent in the language of the global economy. They're trapped inside of structure built by a crisis nearly 3 decades old, maintained by conglomerates whose dominance predates that crisis, reinforced by a collective memory that treats caution as the highest virtue. Thailand has the talent. It has the investment. It has 2 Apple flagship stores and a $3.9 billion mega district going up downtown. Icon Siam, a $1.65 billion riverside mega mall, and houses an indoor floating market representing all 77 Thai provinces alongside Louis Vuitton and Chanel. The money comes. It just flows into what's already been validated 100 times. Another mall, another resort, another 7-Eleven. Problems have known solutions. Tragedies are what happen when the ingredients for success are all present and the structure still won't let them combine. The Sathorn Unique still stands in downtown Bangkok, 80% complete, 27 years empty. Nobody lacks the resources to finish it. They lack the conviction that finishing it is safe. And that applies to a lot more than one building. If you made it this far, subscribe. And if you want deeper breakdowns like this one delivered to your inbox, I read a newsletter. The link is in the description. It's where I go further into the research behind these videos. Drop a comment and tell me what you think about this video. Did I diagnose the situation correctly, or did I get it right or wrong, or whatever? I read everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.